Welcome. Say this video is about establishing some user preferences that we found can make life a little bit easier. Now, to access user preferences, you'll go up to your name in the upper right-hand corner. You'll click on that and you'll see the selection User Preferences. Go ahead and make that selection. You'll see that it opens up to a number of key areas or key options that you can have to make your life easier, basically. And so as you go through these options in the general section, what we find that is important to pay attention to in particular, some of these preferences have already been set up for you, but there are some that may not be selected, which is what we want to speak to right now. So on the left-hand side, as you work your way down, principal provider, flag options, workflow options, this is an area that you would want to potentially select on, and you'll see it's on here, to show unsigned clinical notes in your inbox. That way, if you want to check to see what notes you have left to sign, you would simply go to the dashboard, go to your inbox, and then you would be able to access those unsigned notes to review them right from your inbox and to go ahead and sign those. Another good selection is to go ahead and remove documents from your inbox when they are signed. And then when you move over to the right, your default screen, when you open it and log into the system and it opens up, you can automatically have it open to a chart or the DIM module, the scheduler, nothing, or your personal dashboard. You can see that I've selected personal dashboard for myself. So then we move further down. Some of these are already options that have been that work the best. What would also for you to consider would be the CPR, and this is on the right-hand side of the note, which we'll show you in a minute, that allows you a chance to have key areas within the system or sections from previous notes show up, and that's called the CPR, and we're going to go there in just a minute and show how to figure out which items that you want to show up in that particular viewpoint. And so you'll see that that is selected on. And then over here on the Problem DX, carry forward the assessment from the previous document of the same type. Typically, it would be good to have that on if you want that problem diagnosis to repeat itself and get carried over. Otherwise, you'll be starting over in the problem diagnosis section with the new note. And so we recommend that that is carried over. So let's move next to the chart summary. And so we're going to select chart summary. And so these are sections that will show up in the note under the CPR. And so we've identified that we want vitals, the most recent encounter, which would be the previous dates that the patient had that has visits for, family, medical, social history, allergies, medication, any clinical alerts, and then of course the problem diagnosis. Now, and simply by clicking on and clicking off will allow it to show up. And then you also have the option to move it around to rearrange the order of that. And then there are some user preferences for the schedule in this section, which we review in the scheduler training. But we're going to jump on down to clinical notes. Now, this particular section allows you to, it will warn you if these sections are not documented in the note. And so you'll see a number of sections that have been created that some may be in a certain note and others may be in another note. But when you click that on, then what it'll do is if it is in that note as a section, and if that section is not completed, then it will do a pop-up as you try to sign the note. So for instance, let's say history of present illness, injury. If we go through and have our exam and that is a section and we missed it, then before we sign the note, it will give you a message and say, hey, you missed the history of present illness and injury. Do you want to move forward or not? And so these are just some good sections to highlight if you feel that it's imperative that you have that section completed within the note itself. So let's go ahead and save this, and we will go ahead and close out of this particular view. And then finally, one other area that you will want to go ahead and click on, or we recommend you clicking on to save you a click in the future, would be to show document panel, show number of documents in list view. And I'll show this to you in just a second, but the number of documents in the list view where you can see how many are there, and then of course the document panel. So both of those are on. So let's go ahead and work our way out of this. We will open up a note. Now you'll see when we open up the note or patient file, you'll see on the left-hand side the document list. And that was one of the selections that we just showed you, that if you have it on, that pops up. If you don't have it on, it'll be like this, and then you'll have to click it on if you want to find a note to open. So we recommend just that preference being on, and then that's always open there for you. Secondly, you'll see that it numbers how many records are within that particular note type, which is handy and nice to be able to see where the notes are at. Now, way over on the right-hand side of the screen, this is the CPR that we just set into motion in the user preference side when we made those selections. So we selected vitals. Remember, we selected most recent encounter, and then family, past medical social history, allergies, medication, clinical alerts, and then of course problem diagnoses. And so that's a real easy access for you as you're working with the note. That section will always be there for your reference if you like. If you would like to remove it, while you're in the note to give yourself a little more real estate, you can simply just click on this little tack and it's gone. If you want it to return again, you will select that CPR icon and it brings it back. And in the event you wanted to open it up to see all of them in one view, then you could just select that little square that opens that up and then closes it back down. So these are all little features that kind of help make life just a little bit easier. Hopefully that they're helpful for you. Take care.